And right now, joining us on the Bernie and Sid Show, we're happy and honored again to have the Wounded Warrior Project and Government and Community Relations. It's Lieutenant General retired Mike Linnington. He's an Army veteran and CEO of the Wounded Warrior Project, and he served 35 years in the Army. Sir, thank you for your service.
Bernie, I'm an old guy. Thank you.
No, you don't look it, though. I can tell you this. You look like you're in your late 40s.
Best 35 years of my life, I can tell you, brother.
God bless, and that's what I'm sure what kept you young, sir.
Well, PT every morning, doing what the sergeants tell you to do.
Yeah.
Getting up and doing PT every morning, it does keep you young. So I'm really proud to be here. And thanks for hosting us, by the way, and honoring our veterans as you do.
Thank you for allowing us. And listen, what made you want to be part of this Wounded Warrior Project, which is such an honorable endeavor?
Well, throughout my 35 years, I spent a lot of time around wounded, ill, and injured service members, certainly those that served in my unit. But towards the end of my career, I welcomed home to Andrews Air Force Base many of the wounded that came off the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan. And almost to a person, they were wearing Wounded Warrior Project hospital gear, gear that they were given in the hospital when they transitioned through Landstuhl. And their families had comfort packs that were given to them by Wounded Warrior Project. So when the opportunity in 2016 came for me to join the organization, I said, what the heck? I mean, that's really what I've been doing most of my adult life. So getting back to the men and women that served our country, to me, was a pretty easy decision.
You're the man, Lieutenant General Mike. So I know that you guys provide services for a little over 100,000 veterans, yet you reach millions and millions of veterans. Talk, Mike, about the impact and the reach, and why are the numbers not bigger? If, in fact, you reach millions, why are we only at 100,000 being serviced right now?
Yeah, it's a good point. And we serve directly 160,000 plus wounded, ill, and injured service members and their families. And this is the centerpiece. I mean, this is the 5% of the 3.5 million that have served our nation since 9/11, the attacks right here in the country, that really come home with the greatest burdens of our nation's wars. These are those that were physically injured, but also those that have been emotionally injured, the invisible wounds of war.
Yes.
A big focus of our programs and services is to serve them directly. And then, as you both said, we really touch millions. I mean, if you look at the organizations we support, the benefits, counseling we provide to veterans of all ages, and our resource center has 1,500 different organizations in our resource center that we refer all areas of veterans to resources every day. So the 160,000 is really just the centerpiece. I mean, that's really just the direct recipients of the programs and services we provide in 25 locations around the country.
On the Bernie and Sid Show on 77 WABC, Lieutenant General Mike Linnington, a Wounded Warrior Project CEO, and you, Lieutenant General Mike, are a West Point graduate, a very, very impressive individual. 35 years in the Army, starting off with graduating from West Point. I mean, how has your Army career, where did it take you? I just want to get a little sense of your history.
Well, 22 moves in 35 years. I met my wife at West Point. I was class of 80. She was class of 81. Our son, first offspring of two West Point graduates. He's class of 2005. He's in Turkey today.
Wow.
And he's obviously been serving for 14 years now. Our daughter, born into an Army family, 3 high schools, really all over the world. I mean, as an infantry officer, I served a lot of time at Fort Benning, Fort Campbell, Fort Ord.
My first assignment. Let me just stop you right there. Infantry officer, folks, not a desk job. Infantry officer, ready to fight. I mean, that's tough stuff. You are one hell of an individual.
Commanded a battalion in Korea. That was very instrumental in my life, my family's life. My family was with me in South Korea for 3 years. You can imagine that experience for my wife and our kids. And then really normal career progression, brigade command at the 101st, took a brigade into combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Promoted Fort Benning, command of the military district of Washington, where Vice President Pence is laying a wreath today. I did that a couple times with the president. And then finished my career as a 3-star in the Pentagon and then transitioned to Wounded Warrior Project.
Wow. Now, Bernie mentioned the fact you went to West Point. I don't know if you watched football yesterday or not, but the Fox pregame show was live at West Point.
Wasn't that incredible?
What was incredible was seeing Terry Bradshaw speaking to Lynn Swann, his Hall of Fame wide receiver's son, who's at West Point right now.
Graduating senior. And by the way, what a good-looking young man, ready to commission into the Army.
It was amazing. So I watched this yesterday. So you did watch it too, and it was special with Strahan, all the guys at West Point. But now that you're here in New York, I know you live in Jacksonville now, but you're here in New York, all these New York guys, New Jersey guys, as a West Point guy and from New Jersey, as Bernie pointed out, how special is that for you today?
Yes, it is. I mean, this is home for me. Our office here in New York serves about 10,000 wounded, ill, and injured service members in the tri-state area: New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We did events all over New York, health and wellness events, mental health care services directly provided here. We did an event last night at Madison Square Garden, a wheelchair basketball event, and we're with the two recent Medal of Honor recipients at Madison Square Garden.
Game, right? It was
a Knick game.
Halftime, yeah.
Just being from this area, for me, it's a homecoming. Obviously, starting my military career right down the river, right up the river here at up the Hudson River at West Point. It's a great honor to walk in the parade today with 500 of the many thousands of wounded, ill, and injured service members we provide services for.
As Americans, we are just so lucky and blessed to have men like you who do what you do, who sacrifice your lives or are willing to sacrifice your lives, and your family also. Your family sacrifices a lot. Your son, as you point out, your family travels with you all over the place. It's not easy. So we thank you for all that. So 35 years in the infantry. And also, I want to ask you this question before we run out of time. Today is the first Veterans Day parade. All presidents have been invited to this parade forever. None of them have ever come. This is the first president that has ever said yes and come to a Veterans Day parade. What does that mean to the veterans marching in today's Veterans Day parade?
Well, it means a lot to us, obviously. All of our former presidents have been massively, they're Commander-in-Chief. We follow the orders of our Commander-in-Chief and our military leaders. And for the president to be here today is very special for our warriors. Believe it or not, we've been welcomed 13 straight years to the White House with Wounded Warrior Project for our soldier ride that takes place in April. And President Trump has welcomed us 3 times and spends an hour, one-on-one time with all of our warriors. And President Obama did the same thing. It's just really a great gesture for President Trump to be here, and I know our troops are looking forward to seeing him on TV. They probably won't get up close, but I know they know he's here and he's wishing them well.
All right, Lieutenant General Mike Linnington, Army veteran, as you pointed out, for 35 years, and the CEO of this wonderful group, the Wounded Warrior Project. You are a very impressive guy, and it's funny. I go to the gym yesterday for 2 hours. I walk out, I do chest, and I feel like a real tough guy. Then I see you, I feel like a wuss.
No. I need to get in the gym. I did not hit the gym this morning, but it's on my agenda this evening. Believe me.
Right. Let me tell you something, sir. You are integrity and tough. You personify all of those things, and we really, really thank you for your service, Lieutenant General Mike Linnington. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bernie. Thank you, sir.